Welcome to the 75th Sports Lounge, a tremendous anniversary for the Lounge. 75 weeks, about 25 of them in the video form, or if you prefer, if you're listening to it on the podcast, the audio form. Nathan Sacken is here this week, along with Charlie Hildebrand, David Schottenkirk, and I am Travis Kriens. The big story of the week, Chris Sale is indeed on the All-Star team. He did win the fan vote. After much lobbying from Southwest Minnesota, we've gotten it done. So one of the three best pitchers in the American League finally is an All-Star. The second biggest story is that LeBron James is not with the Heat anymore. He is with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He signed yesterday, 2 years, $42 million, the max contract for him. How surprising was it that he went to Cleveland? I'm surprised since I had it 80-20 Miami. It was between the two, and I did not think it was all that close.
Honestly, I'm not that surprised. He won 2 championships there. He wanted to come back home. I think he did not like how it went going the first time. He wants to bring a championship to Cleveland. And let's face it, Miami this year got blown out by the San Antonio Spurs in the finals. How much more could they bring in? I don't think Danny Granger or that guy from Charlotte is going to help.
Josh McRoberts isn't going to get it done?
Yeah, he's not going. They're not going to get it done. So he's looking at it where Cleveland's got a good nucleus of talent with Kyrie Irving there at point. They can bring in someone like Kevin Love. They have the space, and I think he just really wanted to return home. So I'm not all that surprised. I think it was between Cleveland and Miami all along. All this talk about Chicago was just complete nonsense.
I guess I think he made a cold, calculated decision where he saw that he needed to be with a younger team with talent, which Cleveland is right now, and can get more talent. And I think that he also wanted to fix his image, and a way to cold and calculatingly do that is to go somewhere that would make people happy. And I think him going back home is kind of like the cherry on top. But I think it's more of a business decision that he just has. To give him credit, he's played his cards well of making it look like, this has kind of been planned for a while and everything. And I just think that ultimately, if Cleveland didn't have Kyrie Irving, there'd be no way he'd be going there. He'd be going somewhere else instead.
Makes all the sense in the world. Kind of an underrated aspect, too, is that he's from there. We all know that. His wife's from there. He wants his kids to go to high school the same place that he did. He's just going home at this stage of his career. He won a couple titles, 4 straight finals appearances. He's still in his prime of his career. A young team, like these guys have said, potentially Kevin Love. If not, you got Kyrie, you got Andrew Wiggins, a few other pieces. They might not win it this year or the year after, but I would be surprised if he doesn't get a title or 2 by the time it's all said and done. He's going to spend the rest of his career there. A 2-year deal. Part of that is because the salary cap's going to go way up in 2016. He wants to maximize the potential. And just in case the opt-out, if Kyrie dies or something catastrophic happens, he could potentially get the hell out of there and get a few more titles someplace else too. But I don't see that happening.
Johnny Manziel deserves the credit, right?
Yes, 100%.
All the credit.
All of it.
For everything.
It was that late night trip to the bathroom with all the bills rolled up into little funnel things that somehow convinced him to do it, I guess. Sources say. I mean, baseless speculation says.
The way LeBron did it this time, instead of going in front of Jim Gray and writing a letter, or at least telling Lee Jenkins of Sports Illustrated, this is what I want to say. You put it in some literate English.
Wrote it.
Lee Jenkins, write me something, please.
LeBron wrote this letter.
No, he didn't.
No, he did.
I am going to believe that he did. Of course, people.
There's not. It's come out that as told to.
Right.
This is somebody that says, okay, Mr. Lee Jenkins, this is how I feel. You are a writer of the greatest kind. Put your spin on this to make it sound good for me. Is this LeBron James's thoughts? Yes, it is. Is this his words? Most of them are. Did he put pen to paper or a finger to keyboard. Did he type this himself? No, he did not. Lee Jenkins did. So proceed.
LeBron in his office took his plume and he wrote it on parchment and he sent it to his PR department and they got this to Lee Jenkins.
Thank you. Lee Jenkins,
And they
apparently Lee Jenkins.
Raven.
Lee Jenkins came out to Vegas Wednesday, Thursday, somewhere around there, and they got this thing done, and he sent it off to those at Sports Illustrated. They edited it to see fit, and they put it on the website about 11:15 Central Time on Friday morning. Lee Jenkins, good job for him, right? Good get.
A+.
A+ for him. The way he did it this time, instead of the TV special and the letter, everybody loves this letter. Is this the biggest reason why people like this? Because he's going to Cleveland. If he goes to New York and he writes the letter about I'm coming to New York instead of Cleveland, people probably don't like this as much.
But I think any way he handled it differently than the first time would have been better. Regardless, as long as he doesn't go on TV, doesn't do the whole, song and dance. Yeah, if he wrote a letter and said, I love Cleveland, I love Northern Ohio or Northeast Ohio, but I'm going to go here, people would have been upset. But I think it wouldn't have been nearly as bad as the decision.
Is Northeast Ohio
like I said before, I think.
Texas? Is Northeast Ohio now similar to North Texas? We're talking about Cleveland here. Akron's about 45 minutes south. Or we can talk about Dallas, North Texas, Fort Worth, Arlington.
Okay,
whatever you want to say.
The North Texas thing for the Final Four, that made absolutely no sense because it's in Arlington. I mean, North Texas is a lot bigger than Northeast Ohio, but he's talking about the Cleveland and Akron area. That's a little further apart.
Northeast Cavaliers, the Northeast Cavaliers. Mr. Hildebrand.
I was just, like I said before, I think this was purely there were other reasons to win in there too, but I think part of it was a public perception and image thing, and the only way you could really change it is by doing what he did. I mean, he could have just gone to Cleveland without any article at all, and I think it would have been a similar reaction. But the only way he could go somewhere without getting, a quarter to a third of NBA fans rolling their eyes, everyone except wherever he would go, would be to go back to Cleveland and kind of do the contrived, this is what I learned while I was away, and now the prodigal son's returning thing. And I'm not trying to say that this is all BS either. I think he probably means the majority of what he says, if not all of it. But there's just, and you know what I mean though. There's just kind of it looks like this very I'm so happy yada yada yada, which I think there's an element of that. This was a very business decision being masked as I'm going back and taking my emotions and making it like that.
I don't think he would have if he wasn't going back to Cleveland. I don't think there would have been.
I think we could all agree with that.
Yeah, I think he just said, what sources say he's going to sign with the Heat or the Bulls or whoever. He wouldn't have written a letter. Maybe later on down the line he would have to try and explain his reasoning, but not like this to announce his signing.
He would have forced by gunpoint. I'm taking my talents to Kim Jong-un in North Korea and playing in Pyongyang from now on.
Pyongyang, very good. Did you enjoy Chris Broussard trying to confirm LeBron James' own letter on the air? Have we gotten any information on this? Can you confirm his confirmation?
And Jay Crawford's reading through the letter right now. He's like, I don't know what's going on here. I'm just reading through the letter right now. So someone please explain it. It was rather funny to watch SportsCenter, and then you have Chris Broussard from Cleveland. You have Brian Windhorst from Cleveland. I mean, they're trying to contain their excitement and be professional about this, but deep down inside they were just delighted.
We call those people around here dipshits. That's what we call them. The whole I want to touch on Charlie's little thing. Is too much being made about this whole homecoming shit. Can you remember a guy that apparently everybody likes him now because everybody hated him about 5 minutes ago. Can you remember a turn as quick as this, as simple as this, from an athlete?
Not everybody loves him. I mean, there's still people that no matter what he does or the rest of his career, just because of the way he left the first time, are not going to like him. Me personally, I really didn't have an issue with him going to Miami. I really didn't care anyway he did it get down there. But there was a kind of a mass shift of the emotion from most people that had anything to care about it. But this is probably the first time I can ever remember. Probably the most notable, most recognizable person on the planet in sports, going back home to where he's from, where he played the first 7 years of his career, of his stature. He's been the chosen one in that area of the country since the time he was 14 years old. It makes sense why people are jumping back on it saying, hey, this is a good move. But I don't think that it's as big a shock and people reacting the way they are.
Yeah, I agree. I think I would also throw in that, I get why he wrote the letter and everything. I think if he would have gone back to Cleveland and said nothing, I don't think it would make any difference. I think they'd all be equally as excited as they currently are. I don't think he needed to do the letter to get Cleveland to love him. I think he did it for everyone outside of Cleveland.
The sources and the Twitter and the speculation throughout the whole thing, what do you make of that? Because I think the biggest thing for me in this lead up that was not reported was the meeting with him and Cavaliers ownership in, I believe it was Miami. This was last Sunday. This is when this happened last Sunday apparently, and this was not reported. Nobody knew about this, which I think this is the biggest story in the lead up. If we would have known that if he personally met with the Cavaliers last Sunday, then that really, I think, gives you a solid something there that says he could actually go back to Cleveland. But since nobody knew about that and nobody reported that, it was all just kind of floating in the wind there of, well, he's meeting with Riley in Vegas in a couple days, and we'll see what happens there. And then after that, it was reported, no more meetings, he's going to make up his mind, he's done. And I looked at that and said, well, he met with one team, he met with Miami. His agent met with a few teams, but LeBron, he wasn't there. So looking at that, I figured, well, he only met with one team, that team's Miami, he's going to go back there.
There were reports last weekend that Dan Gilbert's plane was headed to Miami. It was also reported that Gilbert was not on that plane. So that was a confusing aspect as far as that. But as soon as I heard that, I kind of just had a weird gut feeling that Gilbert was actually down there. I wasn't sure they had a meeting. I didn't have any idea until we all found out on Friday. But looking back, it makes a hell of a lot more sense that he actually was in that plane and met on Sunday.
He had the plane go down there, and they thought he was on it, and they didn't think he was on it. And then Zydrunas Ilgauskas, he was on it, and then he wasn't on it, and they didn't know who was on this plane. Apparently, it flew down there by itself, and nobody was really on it. So that happened, and I think that's the biggest story in the path here of trying to figure out where he was going to sign. So they kept that very quiet, and that kept a lot of people in the dark. The 2-year deal. As we mentioned, the salary cap is going to go up here in a couple years because the TV deal is going to get bigger. Why is the TV deal getting bigger when the ratings are not really? They're staying steady. But are we just in this day and age now of sports programming is a hot commodity, and if you have solid ratings, you're going to get a boatload of money?
Not knowing the details on the TV deal as they are right now, I would assume is that the ratings, you had your Michael era, you had 4 or 5 years, you had the Lakers in the early 2000s, and then LeBron ever since 2003 or whatever it was. The ratings haven't been over the moon, but they've been steady. They've been really good. They've been bigger than they have been in the preceding, going back to Jordan era. So I would assume that Fox, the biggest reason why this is going to be a bidding war between Fox and ESPN. That's why prices are going through the roof. That's why the salary cap's going to jump probably $25 million a year, which is massive. In a league that has a salary cap of 63 right now. It's going to jump by probably a third or about a third, which is insane. And you got business guys that are going to play it right. You get Durant, his first big time potentially free agency is then a massive deal. Well, LeBron signed a 2-year. That's why you get several other guys that are having contracts started in 2016. And I'm going to say this for the record: I think Fox lands the NBA.
That'd be fun. That'd be fine with me. Over ESPN. ESPN's out.
Yep. I think Fox gets it. I think they overpay, but I think they get it.
We got Fox Sports 1. That'd be a good get for them. That'd be a good get.
Do you think that's, just to kind of go a little bit off the map here, but ESPN has been pushing the World Cup so hard these last, they've done a lot this World Cup and then in the previous World Cup, but kind of leading up to this because this is their last one. Fox Sports gets it in 2018 and 2022. Do you think ESPN is trying to say, hey, we are doing whatever we can in order to try and get it back, and say Fox Sports won't even lay a finger to the coverage and the announcers and everything that we have?
It's an interesting battle, but I don't think they're right now. They have bigger fish to fry. They have 8 years to figure out if they're going to get the World Cup back, 12 years down the line.
Gus Johnson.
Yeah, fucking don't even get me started on that. I'll be the entire 2018 will be on mute for these four league guys. But I just said that Fox would get the NBA, but saying that and realizing that they've lost the World Cup, they've lost some of the golf coverage, they've lost a few other things that they're losing here. I think they might that's why the numbers are going to be so high in that war that they're going to have.
And I don't think ESPN can afford to lose the NBA just because they tried to get in that little battle when the NHL was trying to re-sign with their TV partners, and they were deciding between NBC and ESPN, and the NHL said no, NBC is giving us a much better deal. So if you lose the NBA, ESPN, you don't really have a whole lot.
What? More football stacking. More football. I got Canadian football from TSN in Canada now. More football all the time.
Oh God, no! I don't.
We are showing doubleheader high school games every Friday from now on.
Every day from now on. We're gonna be like Midco. We're gonna show games from 6 months ago every night. That's what's gonna go down.
And then they will have an official Johnny Manziel reporter, and there will be a report every day on his life.
He'll have a channel. He'll have his own.
No, they'll just have a Cleveland channel, and they'll go back and forth between Manziel and LeBron all the time.
Nice.
And then whenever they're within 3 blocks of each other, everything will stop.
Well,
that's all they'll talk about.
What, ESPN Chicago, ESPN Dallas, ESPN Boston, New York, LA. They may as well be ESPN Cleveland with how much ESPN.
No, not ESPN Cleveland. ESPN Manziel and LeBron. They're not going to care about anybody else.
Well, I mean, they care about the Browns and the Cavs, and the Indians will just get a little bit of news, and the Blue Jackets won't get anything at all. That's a hockey team there in Ohio, Kriens, in case you didn't know.
Is that right? Is that right? Looking at the ratings here, network ratings for NBA, 5.0 is the peak that I can find back in 96. That's the first year I can find. Since then, they've dropped every year to a low of 2.0. Back in 07, they were 2.3 this year. They were 2.9 last year. So we're looking at 2.5 to 3 your network rating on ABC, the 12 games that they play on there every year, whatever the hell it is. Look at the NBA Finals ratings. You had a peak of 18.7 there in 98. I wonder who played in that one. I'm not sure. You had a low in 07 with the Spurs and the Cavaliers at 6.2, and it's gradually increased there. This year, 9.3, the lowest it's been since 09. You had a good run there of between 10 and 10.5 rating points there in the last 4 years for the finals, so that gives you sort of an idea of what type of viewership the NBA has had here in the last 5 years. I've watched some SportsCenter. I watched it for an hour when I got home that afternoon, and when I heard Dan Le Batard's same interview over the phone for the second time, I'm like, I've heard this already. I know what's going on now. I took a nap. I was fine. And then you turn it on again at 7 o'clock that night. It's still on. And for some reason, maybe Charlie can explain this, they moved the U.S. national softball team off the network. What the hell was the deal with that? I'm not sure.
They did. I don't know. Someone at work was really upset about that, though. And I remember him saying that's... I don't have it. I typed it like right as it happened last night, so I don't have it in front of me now. But it was something to the effect of, you know the LeBron James deal signing is a big deal when they bump the Team USA softball coverage. And if you're saying that jokingly, it's pretty funny. But he was saying it seriously, which I thought was kind of gross and disgusting.
Gross and disgusting. Very good. Was the person at work that described this, was his name Charlie Hildebrand?
It was not me that said it. No. No, if I said it, it would have been purely for entertainment purposes only.
So this broke around noon Eastern time or so, and they're on 5-6 hours. I'm okay. Once you get to 5-6 o'clock, okay, then you have your national softball thing on or whatever. A bit much. Once you get past about 6 hours, I know there's a lot of stuff going on. Not a lot of stuff actually broke that day as far as who was signing where, besides Chris Bosh. But did they go a little bit too far on that, being on for, it was like Kello tornado coverage. They were on for like 10 straight hours. 6 hours was good for the best player in the world right now. Did you have a problem with them going deep into the night with the same shit?
I didn't see this, but did they start reporting then on the speculation of where Melo would go, where all these other dominoes would go with Chris Bosh? Because immediately after they talked about, LeBron's coming back, they're like, Chris Bosh, he's going to sign with Houston soon. And then that was like the other big bombshell, is that Bosh decided to re-up with Miami. So did they go into some of that with the other free agents, or is this strictly on LeBron, and dissecting every word in his letter?
It was mostly him for the first couple of hours. Then they'd head to the desk with a few people, and they were talking about, they had Broussard and some other guy with Linda Cohn and PJ Carlissimo. He was there breaking it down. And they were on the phone saying, this is going to happen with this guy. So they were kind of going back and forth, but I read that there was a 2-hour span there where they did not go to commercial. It was 2 hours straight, so they felt this was very important not to even break for a Coors Light commercial at that point. So it was a little bit overkill after a couple of hours. I took a nap. I woke up. I got a text. It said Bosh went to Miami. I was like, what in the hell? I thought he was going to Houston. I was surprised that LeBron went to Cleveland, but in this entire thing, the thing I am most surprised about is Chris Bosh getting his max deal going back to Miami, when I thought he was destined for Houston. Were you surprised at that as well? Did you expect Bosh to go back to Miami? Because obviously Miami, if Bosh is done, Miami, they're about done.
I think the thing that's surprising the most about it is that I know it's $30 million, and that's a lot of money to turn down, that you can't be offered. But that's still half as much as what Carmelo would have given up by leaving New York for any place else, right? Wasn't it $60 million that he would have had?
Chicago could have gave him 4 years for $75 million, I think. Was the max they could have. And he obviously got 5 years, $130 million. So you're sacrificing a year. About $25 million there through the first 4 years is what you're sacrificing. So Miami, they obviously had to keep Bosh here.
That's a lot of money to give up for Melo. And if I'm Bosh, honestly, as difficult as the West is, you'd still be joining forces with Dwight Howard and James Harden, and by all indications, they were planning to re-sign, or they're planning to match the deal that the Mavs gave Chandler Parsons. So to go back to Miami, where you have nothing but Norris Cole and Josh McRoberts and an aging, broken down D Wade, maybe he just wants to do it and try and take on the team as his own, because he was always the guy that was in the background. No one really paid attention to Bosh at all. It was LeBron this, or D Wade's hurt, and there's Chris Bosh. Maybe this is his chance that he wanted to say, hey, I'm going to be the ringleader of this team.
That should be fun.
His chance to show off being the 24th best player in the NBA all over again, like in Toronto.
Whoa!
fighting words.
That's some high praise there. 24th best. Holy hell!
And
Are you putting him above Aaron Brooks? Holy hell!
I'm not saying it's right, but I think that is his line of thought there. Don't you think Houston would have been a far better choice than Miami?
Maybe he's best friends with Dwayne Wade, and he wants to have a reality TV show.
I don't think that's the case. I don't think has Wade re-signed yet or not. I don't think so.
He's not.
Oh, yeah.
How funny is that going to be when he leaves? Bosch is the.
That's going to be a terrific guy. The conspiracy theories out there. LeBron was always going to come back. He was just going away for a little bit, and then he was always going to come back after 4 years or whatever. I would laugh my ass off. I would have no ass after this if this was true. If Wade and LeBron got together and said, "Hey, we're going to get Bosch over here. In 4 years, we're going to leave. We're going to leave this asshole by himself in Miami." That would be a terrific joke. That would be tremendous. I hope that is true. Bosch goes there. Carmelo Anthony stays with the Knicks, announced here a half hour or so ago officially. Do you expect him to be there when this contract is up? Because I sure as hell don't.
I think I have to, considering that Phil Jackson's there. They're going to have money to spend next year in the offseason. Signing 5 years, 125, 129, whatever the fuck it is, a shit ton of money. I don't think at this stage in his career, I think if he was ever going to leave New York, it would have been this time around. And he came awful close. I think LA was a lot closer than people think they were to Atlanta, which I would have been okay with. It would not have been great, but it would have been interesting at the very least. Chicago was a player. I think signing this deal pretty much insinuates to me, anyways, that he'll be in New York the rest of his career, like he has been for the last 10 plus years, including Syracuse.
Who would want out first, the Knicks or Carmelo?
Melo would want out first, if anybody. The Knicks are in. They're into him. It's their guy and has been their guy, even though they haven't done shit with him yet. But I think 2 or 3 years' time, if nothing's changed and Phil doesn't wave his magic wand with the Knicks, I think at that time might look to get credit someplace else to win a title before his career's over.
May I just add, too, that I think the biggest loser so far in free agency is the Los Angeles Lakers. Not only does Melo say no to them, but then Pau Gasol, they did get Jeremy Lin, right? But they lose Pau Gasol to the Bulls. And what's Kobe going to do there now? The Lakers are hopeless. They are absolutely hopeless. They will be lucky to win 35 games this year.
They've got Nick Young.
Oh, God damn it.
What more do you need?
Something other than fucking Nick Young.
You greedy bastards.
20 times, gets 1 assist a game.
It's a good ratio, 20-1. 20-1.
It's not good. It's not good. I was alluded to in the chat that I have all the faith in old Mitch Kupchak. I don't know why at this point I still do. But Kobe's is going to stack his money for at least this year and maybe play half the games. Otherwise, he'll be so pissed off he'll be in the locker room beating the shit out of lockers and other people right about 20 games in. Free agency next year is going to be interesting. We'll see what happens with Love. I still think that's a possibility because I just feel that Flip's going to fuck this up and not do anything with Kevin Love, and the Wolves will be eternally fucked for the rest of my life.
Oh, you know it will, because they are going to trade for, I think, what they say, Anthony Bennett and Dion Waiters, first round pick. I would demand Andrew Wiggins. I would say, we need this guy. I'll take Dion Waiters, even though no one outside of Carmelo Anthony has done anything in the NBA from Syracuse. Get a first-round pick, but Andrew Wiggins has got to be part of this deal. I think Kevin Love's going to end up in Cleveland or Golden State. Golden State has just been pussyfooting around here for the last couple weeks.
Language stacking, language. Jesus Christ, stack. God damn it. God damn you.
I do think ultimately the Lakers are just looking like fools right now. There's no hope. The Clippers will become LA's team.
Oh, fuck that. Never.
Well, I mean, if we think about it, why would you want to go to the Lakers right now? And I mean, from an objective point of view, they've got a super old Kobe Bryant who certainly, I think he could still win some games, but he's on the downside of his career. But what other reason is there to go there right now?
They don't have a head coach right now, so maybe Jason Kidd will demand a trade from Milwaukee to.
They'll have a coach by Tuesday. Mark it down.
It'll be Byron Scott, won't it?
Yeah, it'll be Byron Scott. And I fucking hate that, too, but that's what I want to do.
Tell us how you really feel, Schottenkirk.
The biggest thing now, if you're a Timberwolves fan, you wanted LeBron to go to Cleveland because now that gives you another trading partner besides Golden State. And like Mr. Stacken said, Andrew Wiggins has to be a part of this trade.
But he won't.
I mean, if they want to Kevin Love, because the way they are constructed right now, you give them Ray Allen, you give them Mike Miller, whoever the hell else they're going to sign for $3-4 million. That's fine. You give them this team right now, the way Cleveland's constructed, they probably win the East. They probably do. They probably don't win the finals. I would like whoever comes out of the West, the top 2-3 teams. However, if you give them Kevin Love, now we're talking they're the best team in the league. If you are Cleveland, you have to give up Andrew Wiggins for Kevin Love because you know how good Kevin Love is, and he instantly makes you the number one team, let alone the betting favorite. Nobody in the East is going to touch you, and you're going to win a title sometime in the next 2-3 years.
It would make a great deal of sense to have Wiggins part of that trade package, but we're talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves here, who drafted Zach LaVine, I believe, and that's a terrible pick. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they do in free agency. They don't know how to sign guys to contracts. Thanks, David Kahn. They're just a failure of a franchise. They're the worst stock of the NBA. And who is? If they aren't, who is? I mean,
we should start up the contraction talks like the Twins 10+ years ago.
There you go.
Send them. We'll give it up. See how they have a fucking team back. I don't give a shit anymore.
I believe the pressure is on Cleveland right here. It's very simple. You pick up the phone. You say we want Kevin Love. Minnesota says we want Andrew Wiggins. There will be no trade unless this happens. I think Cleveland has to do this trade.
They do. And Love said he would re-sign with them.
So how does this not get done? How does Cleveland say, no, we're going to hang on to Wiggins. He might be an all-star in a couple of years, but we're going to hang on to him.
They're convinced that Wiggins is going to be a top 5, top 10 player in 2 years. And
Kevin Love right now is a top 5, top 10 player.
Right.
They're just trying to make the Timberwolves sweat into, okay, fine, we'll take Anthony Bennett and Deion Waiters.
It's not like they got to trade him next week. They got till February to trade this guy. So.
Think about it, though. If Cleveland was seriously interested in doing this, they would have done it on draft night. As soon as they got Wiggins, they would have said, hey, we want Kevin Love, knowing that they had a decent chance at LeBron.
I don't think they knew that they knew they had it was between them and Miami.
Right.
But they didn't know because LeBron had to go first. If Kevin Love goes there and he's saying, well, I'm being here for 1 year, screw this, I'm not staying. It may have ended up working out in the end if they trade for Kevin Love on draft night. LeBron still goes there, obviously, and that increases Cleveland's chances of getting him. But LeBron, he had to go first, and then as they say, the dominoes. I haven't seen these dominoes. I hear they're out there, but apparently they have fallen. So
they have specialty chicken now.
Somebody, the hell they say, the hell.
I think the real question is how come Cleveland's not trading LeBron for Kevin Love? Doesn't that seem like the trade we should do here?
I would assume so. Kevin Martin,
Barea too.
Dang, give him Dang and Kevin Love for 2 games of LeBron James. That'll be worth it.
They will both be sellouts though, with lots of merchandise sold.
Do you enjoy that he's going to be number 6 instead of 23 so he can sell more number 6 jerseys? Because if he was 23, everybody's got a 23 in Cleveland. Now they got to get a 6.
I think they have to get a different jersey number for him.
Why?
Because
he's 6. He's going to be 6.
Aren't Cavaliers fans going to associate number 6 with Miami and won't hold a little resentment?
No.
Okay. Well, then sure, that's fine. Then I don't know what I'm talking about.
Like we alluded to
Shouldn't he wear number 17 so he's 23 minus when he had the 6 the whole time to try to get everyone to forget about it?
A 00.
Why not?
I wish more people would rock the 00.
Mr. Schottenkirk.
Alluding to the jersey thing, we talked about a half hour ago. part of this was being a business deal. It's going to be all the jersey sales, the shoes, the retro shoes and shit. He's going to make so much money out of that stuff. It's unbelievable. The business deal aspect is just massive as far as going back to the new jerseys, but the same shoes. Oh, they go back out the ones all these fucking shit we burned. Let's go back and buy it again for $500. Oh yeah, he's our savior. And can you imagine all in 3-4 years time if he's still there and he hasn't won a title? Are they going to suddenly turn on him and wonder if he's ever going to win one for them?
He has to win a title, does he not?
Yeah.
Does this have to happen in 2 or 3 years?
I think he's got 3 years to get it done before there starts the rumbling start again. Is he ever going to bring one to Cleveland? I think he's got a three-year window, and after that, the talk will be just as intense as can be as to whether or not he can. He didn't promise it this time, but everyone knows that he went back to the final first time.
And I think he only needs to bring one to Cleveland.
This is the ultimate test. This is the ultimate test of if Cleveland's cursed as a sports franchise down or not. If LeBron going back there with this and they can't win, then Cleveland might not win anything ever, and you just have to move to a different city and root for somebody else. They can't win with LeBron on this team now.
Joe Hayden.
Time to move to Cincinnati. Time to move to Dallas or New York or L.A.
And Joe Hayden, the cornerback for the Browns, says that the race is on between the Browns and the Cavaliers of winning a championship for the city. So
the race is on, is it?
Yes, may the best, most cursed team win.
I'll give the Browns a 5-year head start. That's fine.
I tell you,
5 years.
2018, my wild card Super Bowl is Cleveland, Minnesota.
Oh boy,
that'll be a good game.
Manziel.
It'll be a nice preseason game that 14,000 people watch in person.
Any other off-season moves that you like? I know Mr. Schottenkirk is a fan of Isaiah Thomas going to Phoenix. I enjoy Pau Gasol being with my Bulls for a couple years, however long this contract takes. It appears $6.5, $7 million, not a sign and trade, so relatively cheap for a guy whose numbers are very consistent through the last 11 years. Anything else? Luol Deng is still out there. I hope he doesn't waste away in Atlanta. I hope he goes to Dallas or Miami or somewhere worth a damn. What's making your dick hard about these?
Jeez.
What do you got?
Low federal interest rates.
Loans for days for Hildebrand. Mr. Stack, and amuse me.
Well, I don't know how I can follow that one up. Kriens, I think the Pau Gasol move does make a lot of sense, and I think it would have made more sense to go to Oklahoma City, but I think he had serious concerns.
Spurs.
Well, that too, but I think he had serious concerns about the culture in Oklahoma City. I mean,
They speak English. They speak English. He speaks English.
I don't know. I heard that's what he was peppering Scotty Brooks with. Other than that, until Kevin Love is traded, I will not care one iota. There's not one move that I'm going to...
Breaking news on the lounge. Nothing's happened. Look at this. Okay.
Now, break it when it happens. Otherwise, I'm done. I will be curious to see how, I think everything is... The big names have fallen, correct? And now it's just going to be filling in the rest of the pieces. So, yeah, let's get to the All-Star game and then the NFL, and then we'll worry about the NBA in September.
How about Paul Pierce?
September is the big month for the NBA. That's where it really starts going.
Yeah, the Paul Pierce move, that doesn't make any sense. I thought he was going to L.A. to reunite with Doc.
Yeah, Pierce moves makes a lot of sense. You look at the Wizards and look at the way the East is constructed right now. They could be the third or fourth seed next year again. Young pieces, and then a little bit of a run in the playoffs this year. I think that makes a hell of a lot of sense. A veteran voice in that locker room and a couple other guys they have, I think they could be a pretty dangerous team.
Yeah, I bet he gets wheelchaired out 2 or 3 times this year.
Very good.
Cool.
I'm gonna
wheelchaired out, acting like he's dead, and then comes back in 15 minutes later, NBA Finals style.
Yep, thanks to Obamacare.
Wow.
I think that NBA Finals may have, well, maybe it wasn't. Never mind. I don't remember what year it was.
2008, 2010, 29, somewhere around there.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Washington almost knocked off Indiana, almost in the conference finals. Very surprising team. Everybody's going to be on them. Everybody's going to be on them. Thus, I will be off of them. Interested to see if Miami can win that division again, with Washington a close second. Do you like Washington to be the 2 or the 3 seed?
Charlotte. What about the Hornets?
They didn't get Gordon Hayward, so I don't know.
My gut reaction, I'll say that Washington's the 2 seed, and we'll assume that someday Derrick Rose will be healthy for the Bulls, and they'll be the 2 seed. Washington's the 3 seed. I think we can all say that until LeBron James is not playing for Cleveland anymore, they're going to be the de facto number 1 seed in the East until he's 40.
Watch out for the Bucks. They make a charge this year for the 4th seed.
What about Lance Stevenson? Where's he going to go?
Nowhere.
LA.
The Clippers?
No, Lakers. Yeah.
Heidelberg, Germany.
I think he is down to the Lakers, potentially Dallas. Dallas has a shit ton of money to spend yet. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but I think that could be a fit there. They got Dirk. They're going to miss out on Parsons. I think Houston matches here pretty soon. They haven't already. That would be actually a decent fit. Dallas is another team that's interesting in the next couple of years because they have money already, and especially in 2 years when they got even more money to cap, they're going to be big-time players for KD and other guys.
They lost Vince Carter, though.
Oh, no.
Tough loss.
Vince Carter goes to Memphis. Paul Pierce goes to Washington. The big names have signed already, so a fun time. NBA's got to be loving this, do they not? Big-time news. The New York Times put the transactions on the front page. I thought that was tremendous. I was a big fan of that, even though Mr. Amon and Traxler, the newspaper twins, they did not enjoy that as much as I did. So how much is it paying NBA terrorist Nathan Sack and I have to talk about NBA for 45 minutes?
This sort of thing actually entertains me. I like talking free agency, and I do. It's just when we talk games, and it's the insistence.
So you like the garbage in the off season. You hate the actual content. I hate the actual games.
I do. I like the sport management side of it. And then the previewing to see where each team falls out, and then wake me up when the regular season ends.
Spoken like a true detached fantasy sports enthusiast.
I don't even play fantasy basketball though, so I strictly stick to fantasy football. That's it.
Nathan Stacken's 47th annual football league coming up here.
Yes.
In a month or so. Draft in about 6 weeks, so be prepared for that. The World Cup. It says, the World Cup, a little that I paid attention to it. Germany and Argentina playing here. I don't like, a pet peeve of mine is when it comes on at 1 and the pre-game's an hour and it starts at 2, even though the TV guide thing says from 1 to 4, it's not broken in. Well, 1 to 2 is the pre-game, 2 to 4 is the actual game. It's just 1 to 4, the entire goddamn thing. Germany favored to win. Break down this soccer match with Messi versus the Nazis.
Ever since post-World War II, when all the Nazis were trying to get away and go to Argentina to get away from everybody's building for 69 years, and this is going to be the time where we decide that's all the World Cup stuff I've got. I don't have anything else about it.
It's the best overall team in Germany. They played the most pure soccer, as you want to use that as a term, like just kids or whatever, but the best they've played in the Brazil 7-1. Everyone saw that. Not really. 7-1 was a surprise. The fact that they crushed them was not surprising after Neymar was injured. Against Messi in Argentina, Messi is the best player in the world. There's no debating that, in my opinion. You're going to have a game today that all depends on the first 20 or 25 minutes. Argentina can weather the storm, be 0-0. They're going to be in it. If Germany scores early, they could see a 3-1 game. My official prediction is 2-1 Germany. I think they get out to a 1-0 lead at halftime. Messi makes a push in the second half, but it's not enough. Germany wins it, goes to the top. They've been kind of tortured to the last 20-some years since the last time they won one. Third place the last 2 World Cups, runners-up in 2002. They've been close, knocked on the door ever since. Third time these two teams have met up in the World Cup final. That's interesting most of all time. For a soccer fan, this is pretty close to the best matchup pre-tournament as you could hope for in the final period. I'm very excited, and it should be a game that won't be super forgotten.
Get him on ESPN right now. Get that Taylor Twellman guy off. I hate that guy. I would like to see him fall on the face of the earth.
What's wrong with Twellman?
He's a cocky son of a... I hate him. I really do.
He's a son of a bitch, Daphne. He's a son of a bitch.
God's gift to the soccer world, and he's not. He is worthless. He's garbage. Get him out of there. Does perfect analysis. I think Messi. The only way Argentina wins is if Messi can score at least one goal. I'd like to see Argentina win because I don't like the Germans for causing so many world wars. I will.
Wow! They caused one.
One too many.
What's the big deal? Everything came out fairly okay.
You have the wall.
Yeah, I think we'd blame Serbia more for World War I than Germany.
I guess they didn't think like Hans Ferdinand or whatever. Anyway,
Franz Ferdinand, the Archduke.
Thank you.
100-year anniversary of World War I's coming up, Stacking. Come on.
Yeah, I did see that too. That's the only way I knew Ferdinand. Franz.
How are you going to celebrate?
Probably with a bottle of champagne. I don't know.
Digging a trench is how I'm going to celebrate.
There we go. Anyway, so I hope Argentina wins, but I think Germany will.
Did anybody here predict this final? I can't imagine anybody predicted the final. I can't imagine anybody did. Who did? We're looking around for people predicting Germany, Argentina a month ago. Who could have done it?
I think that might be me.
Jesus Christ, Schottenkirk.
2 weeks ago, Trax was making fun of me for being a dead last. I told him, just watch. Germany's going to win this thing. Argentina's going to be fine. And what do you know? The only one in our lounge group, Germany, Argentina, and only of a handful of people that had it, period. I got them both. Germany winning today. Charlie has Germany as well, so props. Congratulations. You get champion right, more than likely. But Traxler, you can fucking suck it.
Yeah,
wow.
That's why Traxler's not on because why he's not on today is because he didn't want to face Schottenkirk.
That's right.
Mr. Schottenkirk, he wins it. Of the 10,000 entries we had, he is number one. Charlie Hildebrand, where did Pele go? We're not sure. But Mr. Hildebrand, running up for you.
I've been looking.
Look, have you been to a Subway?
This is like the moment I've been shooting for.
Go to a Subway, you'll see him.
Yes, absolutely.
He's signing peppermint patties there today.
Nice.
I was in first. If Brazil would have gotten the final, I would have won. They obviously fell 29 goals short of that, so they did not. I finished third. I will take third in this goddamn thing. Mr. Stackin, 3 points behind me, very close. You're in fourth. Mr. Traxler, not so hot. He tied with Mr. Stackin for fourth, and Mr. Baseball, Drew Amon, last. So Drew Amon, a good early showing, but he shit the bed at the end. Drew Amon, very disappointing.
I got to give kudos to myself and to Kriens, because when you don't follow it at all and you don't care and you can finish 2 or 3, that's pretty good. I mean, Schottenkirk gets the most credit for winning, obviously. I mean, because you always have to, this is America, you have to credit the winner. But when you don't really care and you're just like, sure, let's pick this one. Heck, you can finish in the top 3. That's always fun and interesting.
Don't forget, when you're in America, you also make excuses for not winning either. So.
Well, yeah.
I blame the Neymar guy. The Neymar guy got hurt, and the Neymar guy didn't do good. So there you go. That's the analysis there of the World Cup. The All-Star Game festivities have begun mere hours away in Minneapolis. What are you most looking forward to?
How many people buy Twins winter jackets because of that polar blast winter?
It's going to be 67 degrees tomorrow. Everybody indoors.
So cold.
It's 4 degrees colder than it should be. Everybody in. It's not 95. Anyway.
I think I'm most excited for the 6 times during the game broadcast they will mention that whichever league wins gets to host gets home field advantage, so it actually counts, and that's why this is important in the best All-Star game. I'm looking forward to all the times they mention that.
During the actual All-Star game, I hope there's about 10 references to the grounds crew so we can officially have Marcus have a heart attack and freak out in his in Mitchell. Because if the national audience hears about that, I'm sure I'll probably send them the ass over tea kettle, if you know what I mean.
I'm interested in the home run derby and then just how they. I mean, this is a great source of pride for the Twin Cities, for Minnesota in general. Just the All-Star game coming, visit nice Target Field. I want to see how they destroy Target Field's reputation, because Fox inevitably will.
Really? What is this all about?
Wow.
Well, okay, maybe it's more Fox News is what I'm thinking. But anyway, they won't be there. It'll just be Fox, but...
Very good. Who's winning the home run derby?
Ryan Dozier.
Besides Puig, who's winning the home run?
I like Adam Jones.
The two guys you have named as one jokingly and one serious are the longest of odds to win the home run derby. I just looked at it. Dozier and Jones are 14-1. Giancarlo Stanton is number one, the favorite, which makes all the sense in the world. Tulo's like number 3, Puig's number 2, and I'm not sure the rest of them. But I would expect.
Like Puig or Stanton.
I would be kind of not shocked. I would be surprised if it was Puig win.
Cespedes won it last year. He's in it again this year. A new format, a bracket-type format. You only get 7 outs instead of 10. So plenty. It's going to be different, I guess. You got to start with. They got 10 guys instead of 8, and then if you're the lowest in each league, you're out. If you're 2 or 3 in each league, you face off. Or if you're in the bottom 2, you're out. I'm not sure how it works. But if you hit the most home runs in a round, that's probably a good start if you want to win the goddamn thing. And you win a car of some sort, I'm sure. Any mid-season awards, since we spent so much time, any mid-season awards that you feel very strongly about with Tanaka? Yes.
I was just going to say real quick, since you mentioned Cespedes, I know a few weeks ago or whenever, Traxler and I were talking about having like a hitting thing, like they've got all these different events. I think they should have Cespedes and numerous other guys have the outfield gun a guy throwing at home off a tag out thing and see which guy can throw the most guys, or which 5 or 10 guys are the best at throwing guys out at home from middle or deep outfield against a fast runner. And I think they should have that too.
You have Cespedes, you could have Puig out there. Michael Kadyr's got a good arm, but the left shoulder's broken now, so that's no good. Rick Ankiel, you can dust Rick Ankiel off and put him out in center. He'd be fun to watch. The guy. Yes.
Just as they put Manny Ramirez out there and have him try and catch the cutoff.
He can catch the cutoffs.
And since you said awards, I think I can award the whatever, I don't know, what do you call them, the GIF or GIFs or whatever, the one of Cespedes throwing the guy out, and when he threw it, it turned into like fire or whatever. That's my nomination for the best throw out and the best fan-made computer GIF thing that I've seen.
That rarely happens. The ball rarely turns into flames.
Yeah.
I would like to give an award to the doctor who has performed the most Tommy John surgeries, because he's been busy.
He has been busy cutting those ligaments up. With Tanaka, he was, I think it was between him and Felix Hernandez for AL Cy Young at this point, and now it appears that Felix Hernandez well on his way to winning one here halfway through the year. And this opens it up for Sports Lounge favorite Jose Abreu to win that Rookie of the Year, because I don't think he was before. But on the way to almost 50 home runs here, he's got 29, 30 at the break, nearly 50 home runs. So I would assume Felix Hernandez, the early favorite for Cy Young, and Jose Abreu, early favorite for Rookie of the Year. Should get MVP votes as well. Who do you like as MVP? Because it seems like Mike Trout is the clear favorite here.
Yeah, Trout's absolutely the clear favorite after the AL MVP. More power this year than he's shown for 2 years. Not as much speed. I'd rather have the power anyway. Average is pretty similar. His on-base percentage is a little bit down right now. Probably fine. I think if he has any sort of decent second half, he's the guy. Maybe could get hot here again and make it interesting towards the end. I think it's those two. Cy Young wise, like you said, it's Phoenix's to lose now.
I think I picked Trout at the beginning of the year, did I not?
Yes.
Yeah, then I'll stick with him.
Very good. AL
Trout
manager.
makes sense. He's really good.
AL manager of the year. Anybody stick out? Can anybody name an AL manager?
Ron Gardenhire.
Robin Ventura.
Very good. Anybody from not their favorite team that hasn't been there for the last 12 years?
Well, yeah, John Madden, or Joe Madden, excuse me, not John
John
Madden.
Madden, 83-year-old diabetic John Madden.
He's done a really good
Joe
job
Madden,
coaching the Oakland A's this year.
Yeah, he has. Mike Scioscia needs to go, but I've
Mike Scioscia needs to go. What the
fuck? I was just gonna say Scioscia's going to AL Manager of the Year for Christ's sake.
They got what, the second best record in the AL?
Difference of opinion. Discuss.
I know he's not going to go. I'm so sick and tired of hearing about Mike Scioscia. That I want him out of baseball.
For what?
For all the wrong he's done to you over the years.
Yes, he's on my shit list. So
he's Gardy times 10. They're the same guy, and he just happens to win more often and more recently.
And that doesn't mean because he's as fat as hell. He's just that good.
Same style, same different pitching mentality, whatever. They haven't won very much. The Twins obviously haven't won very much recently. And you give the lineup that Scioscia has, just what anybody's going to win with that lineup. I fully understand that. But he's my manager of the year right now if I had to choose.
really not the guy in Oakland.
Fuck no.
Okay.
Game and a
I don't
half
even know
behind
who the
Oakland to the
manager in
best
Oakland
record.
is.
Bob Melvin.
Who is the manager in Oakland?
Bob Melvin, I think.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
We'll go with that. The Twins, 11.5 back, a game back of Chicago in fourth. Only 3 games back of Cleveland from third. 43-50, depending on the outcome today in Denver. Are you pleased so far? They've turned it around in the last couple games. Took 3 or 4 from Seattle. That was good. Are you pleased with the first half?
Sure.
I would say I am. I mean, look at they got one more game today here at Colorado. Finish up the first half. If they win that 5-2 at Seattle and Colorado road trip to close would be nice. They have a big long homestand coming out of the break. If you're a die-hard fan, you're grasping at straws here. But if they win today, they win 7 or 8 out of the 11-game homestand, you're back right around 500. And who knows? At that point, you're in August, and if you're 500 in August, no one probably I have seen that coming. So you got to be happy. Regardless, I'm happy. Only 7 games under. I figured they'd probably be 10, 12, 13 under by now. They're not. Turned around this last week. There's signs of improvement. Decent couple starting pitchers now. The lineup's okay. I see if Mauer comes back here. There's more optimism than I thought I would ever have at this point in the year.
Thought they'd be 500 at best this year, so they're right around my expectation level.
They are only 2 games better than they were last year at this point. So we'll see. We'll see what happens the rest of the way. National League, Clayton Kershaw. I hope he gets a 4th straight ERA title. That's never been done in Major League Baseball. Is he your Cy Young right now? Missed some time on the DL. Adam Wainwright having a hell of a year. Notable mention for Odrisamer Despaigne for the Padres, my guy. But Clayton Kershaw, my guy for Cy Young right now. Because he's the best there is.
He's the best there is. He's
It's tough to not give it to Kershaw.
He missed, a month, and he still has 11 wins and the best ERA, and strikeout numbers through the roof. It's pretty crazy what he's doing right now.
I'll give it to Kershaw. Wainwright does.
Nathan.
Okay, I was just going to say, I give it to Kershaw, Wainwright, and very close behind. I would even say you could start looking at Kershaw as the MVP. Didn't Verlander do that a couple years ago?
What about Despaigne?
Sure. Yep. Him too.
What about Despaigne? Tremendous.
27-year-old.
Good. We'll see how he does the rest of the year.
Good breakdown.
But I
Good
know,
breakdown.
but generally with awards, if you have great stats and you play well and you play for a team that's good, especially in a big market like Kansas or like Los Angeles, you're gonna have a good chance to win it. And you throw in, what was it, 45 innings without giving up any runs or whatever? Yeah, something like that to really stick out. I mean, we'll see what happens the rest of the year. There's a lot of baseball to be played left because they play 162 games for some reason. But as of right now, I don't know how you give it to anybody else based off like the 7 games I watched this year.
There you go. How great is it, though, that in the last few years, if you're Cuban and you play Major League Baseball, you are a great player. This Despaigne had an ERA over 6 in the minor leagues. He was picked up 2 months ago. They call him up. He's been freaking tremendous in his first 4 starts. What the hell is it about Cuba? You can be shitty there, or you can be great there. You can be shitty in the minor leagues, and Despaigne stacking Despaigne, throwing freaking bullets.
They just know when to turn it up at the right time. They know when to perform, and it's at the majors.
Good.
Maybe to help, maybe Cuba just needs to start exporting more baseball players.
Good. Instead of having them sneak out, maybe export them out. The National League East between Washington and Atlanta seems to be a good battle since they are tied right now. Miami 5 games under. We had a bet with Mr. Marcus Traxler. If they finished over 500, he would have to wear some colored pants, a la Amen, at certain events around public. But the colored pants do not seem to be happening. So that's a goddamn shame. The NL Central, Milwaukee's coming back to the pack as expected. St. Louis is first. That's strange because St. Louis is never any good. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's on a roll lately. So you got 4 teams there, 2.5 games separate them. So that should be a hell of a 4-game race there going on. And out west, you got the Dodgers and San Francisco. The Dodgers, they're terrible. They lead by a game. San Francisco out to a hot start. Had a terrible month, and now they're back to somewhat 500 over the last few weeks. So great races all around. When do you get excited, you non-baseball folk? When do you get excited about baseball? September 29th or September 30th?
You're asking me when I get excited about baseball?
Sure.
I would say from June until football season starts. And then once football season starts, unless the White Sox are in the playoffs, I put it on the back burner.
I mean,
depending on who makes it and how things shake out, I mean, like hypothetically, I mean, I don't know if it was like if it was the Angels and the Dodgers in the World Series, some 2 teams with a lot of players who I already know who they are that are both loaded with talent. As long as it wasn't on a Saturday or a Sunday, I'd probably watch those World Series games.
These races have been great. I enjoy keeping up with them, and I will look forward. I'm not going to watch a lot of it, but I will be watching the baseball playoffs when they start.
You're not going to watch it?
I mean, I'd have to go to Cubbies to watch all the good races, so I don't have MLB Network.
What's your favorite race, African American or whites?
I was going to say the Derby, but
The Derby. No,
Dwarves.
not the
Dwarves.
Dwarves. Dwarves are a race. Dwarves a race of people.
Or elves. If you want to go elves, we could do elves too.
I like the elves. They're very.
Oh,
elfish.
you mean like?
Huh. When you say you put baseball on the back burner, are the burners on? Are they on? Mr. Hildebrand.
I would say that generally, yeah, it's on in the summer. Starting
the back burners?
Yeah. Why would I ever turn the back burner off? Just in case you need it on. I mean, there's nothing worse than having to turn something on, right?
Good. And an honorable mention, similar to Despaigne, Jacob deGrom, somebody nobody's ever heard of besides me and Schottenkirk. Pitcher for the Mets, doing a hell of a job. So keep your eye on that. If we had the the Pitcher of the Week award, the $25 to the T Steakhouse, he would be in line for that. So, anything else that we missed this week? The 75th Sports Lounge.
We're gonna break down the British Open. It's going on this week.
British Open.
British Open. Come on.
Rory McIlroy's favorite. I look forward to getting up at 3 a.m. to watch it.
You're out of your mind.
I'll be up
3
o'clock in the morning. Thursday and Friday we'll be good to go. We'll watch the coverage. Tradition, unlike any other. For me, it's the most fun. Two of the most fun days in golf. Wake up at 3 o'clock and have golf on, and the different weather elements. The British Open's always been one of my favorites. Should be an interesting tournament. But me and Stack and still have to have our argument about the golf lack of stars. I can save that for another day.
Okay.
Next week, give us a preview. Stackin v. Schottenkirk. Give us a small snippet. Where can they watch it at? Is this going to be at the Greensboro Coliseum? Is this going to be on pay-per-view? Where's it going to be at time? Call out your opponent. I'll give you 30 seconds. If you want 60, I'll let you have it. Mr. Schottenkirk, the ball's in your court.
For the epic beatdown that's about to happen next week, we should be on pay-per-view. Mr. Stacken doesn't agree that there's stars in golf. Not everyone wins every week. You're not going to have a Tiger ever again, probably, way down there in the 2000s. You got plenty of guys that are young and plenty of guys that are marketable. Rory, Martin Timer, Adam Scott. There's still old big-timers and Phil. Tigers come back. That story's always going to be there. You guys, Justin Rose, red-hot entering. You're going to have a whole lot of fun. The ratings suck. I will freely admit that. But there are stars that are young and starting to win.
I know that there are stars. I know Jordan Spieth or some of these other young guns have got to step up their game and win some consistent tournaments, or someone in golf has to, in order to get the commoner to watch golf. That's always been my argument. They need someone to do that. You can't just have all these random guys win one tournament one week and then miss the cut the next week. However, I agree with you about the British Open. It is my favorite tournament of the year. I will get up early. I will watch it. It's going to be outstanding, and I look forward to either Rory, Phil, or Tiger winning it.
So that's your official prediction, one of those three?
I know they probably won't win, but I hope one of the three of them does. Probably someone none of them will win.
Who's going to win? Predictions. Winners.
Miguel Angel.
Since you've thrown out those three, I'm going off Stacken's first three predictions and making a similar one. And since he almost won it like 5 years, I'm going to keep predicting until he does. I'm going to say that Tom Watson's going to win it.
There you go.
At like 64 now. He's going to do this.
I would love to see Miguel Angel Jimenez win with the cigar and everything. His shot off of the brick wall a few years back is I think my favorite shot I've ever seen a golfer do. It was absolutely phenomenal.
Just by a Hispanic, though. We want to clarify that. Best shot you've seen in your life by a Hispanic gentleman. Sure. Okay. Where's the money going this week?
Better shot than anyone from Spain made in the World Cup this year.
The money this week is going to be on the one, the only Dustin Johnson. 33-1, great value for a guy of his caliber. 28, 29 years old, one of the longer hitters in the world. Of course, depending on the weather, obviously the British Open always depends on the weather. The last time I was here at Hoyle Lake, Tiger destroyed the field, hitting irons off the tee. That's not going to be the case this week. It's not nearly as dry. It's not nearly as much run in it. Dustin Johnson's been primed to win a major for a long time. I think he breaks through this week. If I had one other guy that I would potentially be looking at is Justin Rose. He's red hot. He's won his last two starts at Congressional a few weeks ago here in the States. He just wrapped up the Scottish Open about 10 minutes ago, same event that Phil won last year heading into his British Open win. So those two guys are probably battling out. A handful of the others, and if Tiger makes the cut, it'll be a success.
As far as Stacken's new stars thing, can we take a broader look at this and go in like 2 or 3 year chunks and say, okay, Jordan Spieth finished second twice, or he won one, or he had this many top 10s, this many top 5s, and look at it that way instead of each individual tournament and saying, well, he didn't win this one, he sucks, he didn't win this one, he sucks. Can he break it in chunks of like 2-year time periods?
Sure, why not?
Nathan Stacking, yes.
Yep. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay. To wrap it up, Sting, Charlie's favorite wrestler, Sting, sent out a tweet, 7/14/14. That is tomorrow's date. What does this mean? I think it means a whole lot of nothing, possibly a video game, something or other. Very disappointing. What do you think it means?
I think you're spot on. I just saw that, and for about 2 seconds I got my hopes up, and then realized it's probably just the marketing hype or some other sort of announcement. I don't expect to see him on Raw anytime soon. He'll be there at the end of the year. Still moving towards WrestleMania 31. Another interesting thing I just read, I'm actually reading it as I'm talking here, is that Levi's Stadium in San Francisco's new stadium, their official site has released a promo poster for WrestleMania 31 that includes The Rock, Batista, and Lesnar. So evidently The Rock's going to be back at WrestleMania 31.
There you go.
That's interesting. It's all held in.
Are you going to buy, Stack? Are you going to buy?
Nope. I'll pass.
Very disappointing.
I think it'd be fun
Sorry.
if Sting. I mean, I don't follow wrestling anymore. I know he wrestled for the TNA one for a while. Looking at it real quick on my phone, it appears he's 55 years old. I think, certainly Ric Flair seemed to wrestle till he was about 84, but I would imagine most guys get to their mid-50s and say, you know what, I think I'm too old to be getting thrown down on this mat that's maybe not so soft after all. So my guess is he's probably not ever going to wrestle for the WWE.
Wow. That hurts.
You got one match in you. That's all I ask. This week's big story was LeBron James. We'll talk British Open next week. See where Luol Deng signs, since we're very interested in that. See if Kevin Love is traded. One final prediction from the group. At this time next week, what will be the big story?
I think the big story for me, just to kind of switch this slightly, of awards we give out, I'm going to give my own made-up right now Adam Dunn Award for the most feast or famine hitter to Adam Dunn for like the 8th year in a row now.
Very good.
There will be a huge drug raid at the Tour de France, and half the field will be out.
I can't come up with all sorry.
Very good. Apparently there was something with the EPA, some drug thing with the NFL and the New York Times, so look that up if you give a damn. Which apparently nobody does because it's the drugs in NFL. And they can take whatever they want and nobody bats an eye. So we'll see if that becomes a big thing. And it's a shame we didn't get to Donald Sterling's ridiculous goddamn comments in court, because that's funny as hell. So we'll probably get to that next week. British Open, you can watch a guy kick a ball into a net in 45 minutes, because you won't see that for a while. And you can watch some baseball, since they'll be hitting balls in the Target Center, and see if they can hit one in the Vikings' new stadium. For David Schottenkirk, for Nathan Stacking, and for Grandma Rue, yes, for Mr. Hildebrand, and I'm Travis Kriens. This has been the 75th edition of the Sports Lounge. Next week, we'll go in numeric order. It'll be number 76 right here on the Sports Lounge.